Hi, it's your girl Tay, and I am back again with some dope spiritual hacks to help your ancient soul navigate this modern world. Today, I want to talk to you about the benefits of unlocking your sensuality. Sensuality isn't just something that was created for you to perform in the bedroom. It is way bigger than that. It has so many keys to help you unlock yourself just by employing these simple tactics. But first, let's make the distinction between sexual and sensual. Sexual is basically anything and everything to do with the act of sex, including the thoughts that you may have about it. Sensual is about utilizing all of your senses: taste, smell, sound, touch. I've missed one. Sight, and even the sixth one, that goddess or god level energy, that cosmic shit that runs deep within you. They are all of the senses that you employ as part of sensuality. Sensuality, of course, can be a part, and actually should be a part of your sexuality, but they can be quite standalone and distinct. I first discovered the importance of sensuality when I started doing this healing work, to be honest. What I found is that the clients that I saw, particularly women, the ones that were struggling the most or were having a hard time being creative, stepping into their creativity, manifesting the life they desired the most, were the ones who, for some reason or another, had decided to tuck this sensual part of themselves away. Sensual energy, along with sexual energy, is the catalyst for creative energy. I did a masterclass a few weeks on this, the womb wisdom one. You should check it out, where I go more in depth about this. But essentially, if you want to be in your full creative power, that's with your art manifesting, you have to be in your sensual and sexual energy. So your sensuality is not just needed for you to get your rocks off, you need it to be able to create. Instead of thinking that sensuality is solely about how you relate to others in the bedroom and stuff like that, you need to understand that it is about building a relationship with yourself. Building intimacy with yourself is probably one of the most profound and important methods of mindfulness and meditation you can practice. And when I'm talking about building intimacy with yourself, I'm not talking necessarily about getting the toys or the lotion out. I'm talking about body awareness, being in your body. So try this. Get some alone time where you won't be disturbed. And when you are there, take a few deep breaths and tune into your body. Scan your body with your mind. Where do you feel pain? Where are you feeling tension? Where do you feel pleasure? How does it feel that you even feel? You can even do this with touch. And again, I am not necessarily talking about there either, but we're energetic beings. So here's another one for you to try. Again, be in some alone time where you won't be disturbed. Take a few deep breaths and just tune into yourself. Run your hands lightly over your body. Scan and pick up. Where are you holding energy? What kind of energy is it? Where are you lacking in energy? How can you move that energy around your body? What has created this energy? What do you think has sapped this energy? Once you've learned how to do this for yourself, you can even do this for your partner. Tuning into them, running your hands over their body, trying to pick up where they're holding energy. What kind of energy is it? Where is it lacking? This doesn't necessarily have to lead into a sexual encounter if you don't want it to, but it is an amazing way of building intimate bonds with someone. When you've been able to tune into someone in this way, or allow them to tune into you in this way, you can help each other out energetically. You can share information about where they need to be boosted energetically. You can help them redistribute that energy around their body. And even if you don't have a partner or someone you'd like to do this with, you can do this for yourself. It's an amazing way of keeping on top of how energy is flowing around your body, where it needs to be redistributed. And if you know this information, you can employ your favorite healing method, or you can holler at me if you need some help. The good thing about this is that it's employing 2 of your senses. Not only is it employing touch, but it's also employing that 6th sense, using your intuition, that energetic, cosmic, goddess, godlike energy to really scan your partner and form deeper connections with them. It's also about understanding how your body responds to certain stimuli in a conscious way, if you get what I mean. Like, what does heat do to my energetic being? What does cold? What does a feather-like touch do? What does applying more pressure? And then you can get into it with the other senses. What does this taste do, for example? What does this smell do to my energetic being? And that's just on an energy level. And of course, this can be employed for sexual encounters as well. Me personally, I have fragrances that I have blended specifically for the way they interact with my energetic being. If I want to feel a certain kind of way, I will wear this scent. It helps in other departments as well. Sensuality is basically gratification of the senses, and that doesn't necessarily have to be sexual. It's about allowing ourselves to experience pleasure via our senses, which in turn causes us to vibrate at a higher frequency. Pleasure is something that sometimes gets a bad rap, particularly in the conscious or spiritual community. I feel like people see it as a low vibrational thing. They are so obsessed with transcending and living a purely spiritual life that I kind of see that as a disrespect to the existence that we have been given. We are in an earthly body, and so it is also our duty to experience earthly things. To be spiritual, you don't always have to be an activist or militant or scholarly or pious all of the time. Sometimes you need to act in your pleasures, because this human experience is a sensory one. And so by feeding yourself different sensory stimuli, you are actually giving your spirit, your soul, data to work with. It also helps with your manifesting. Too many people visualize in 2D. You need to stop doing this. And the way you stop doing this is by building a full spectrum catalog of sensory experiences that you can utilize during your meditations. Put it this way, if you don't have a big enough catalog of sensory or sensual experiences, when you're visualizing, you're drawing from a pool of information about this big, which may not necessarily be in alignment with what you are trying to attract, if that makes sense. That's the difference between being able to visualize what it feels like to wear clothes made of silk versus clothes made of nylon. The difference between being able to visualize eating high value chocolate, for example, to heavily adulterated chocolate. It's the difference between being able to visualize yourself smelling expensive as opposed to just that supermarket fragrance. By being able to explore what excites your senses, when you're manifesting, you are not just doing this from a place of, I need more money, or I need a partner, or everyone's saying that you should have this thing, so I should have it as well. You're operating from a place of, this gives my senses pleasure and I want that for myself. So when you really explore your senses, your sensuality, what you're actually doing is building a database of what ignites your senses, what makes you feel good, and you can then use that to scrapbook in your manifestations. And you should be trying to manifest more of that. So that takes me right back to what I was talking to you about earlier, about some of the clients that I have worked with previously. Because they weren't living in their sensory, sensual selves, they were unable to manifest something of a higher vibration because they haven't experienced that. They haven't allowed themselves to experience that because they don't have reference points. They are unable to use that in their manifestations. They got stuck because they thought that their sensuality was solely about how they relate to men. And if they wasn't ready to relate to men in that moment, they thought they didn't need it. And actually, in the context of not being ready to relate to someone else in that kind of way, developing and acting in your sensuality can actually be very healing. Being in tune with your body, what stimulates it, is an act of reclaiming your mind, your body, your soul, your entire being for yourself. Particularly if you had experienced traumatic sexual encounters when you were a child all the way up to your adulthood, we all know how sensory experiences can trigger pleasant or unpleasant emotions and memories. But by becoming aware of yourself sensually, by developing sensual practices, you can figure out what your triggers are and even reprogram healthier, happier responses to sensory stimulation. For example, you could have a certain piece of music that you like to play. When you play this song, you now have feelings of, I am safe and I know I am in a loving situation. Me playing this song or this album is an act of my consent to be in this sexual encounter. You could even be like, this smell makes me feel strong and goddess-like. When I wear this smell, I feel powerful and only attract situations that I desire. Or I now know that I like to be touched here in this way. I feel comfortable sharing this with my partner. It also shifts the act out of your mind and into your body where it truly belongs. You will be present, you will be in the moment, and that is what you need to feel comfortable. When you're present and in the moment, focused on the sensations that are happening to your body, it leaves little room for thoughts and insecurities to creep in. You know, tucking that part of yourself away may feel like the safe thing to do, and I get it. But the problem with that is that you are not experiencing yourself in your entirety. When you're not experiencing yourself in your entirety, you lessen your capacity to give and receive love. When you're not experiencing yourself in your entirety, you lessen your capacity to be powerful and in control of yourself, your body, your emotions, and what you generate and manifest into your life. When you are not experiencing yourself in your entirety, you lessen the chance of being able to transcend, which after all is the goal for everyone that is on a spiritual path. We feed our body food to keep us going. We read and attain all of this knowledge to fuel our mind. But sensory experiences, sensual experiences are fuel for your soul. Along with our experiences, it's the way that we know that we exist, because it's a mindful practice, you know. It's about being aware of self, and something that is aware of itself surely exists. Now, for me, the last layer of sensuality is probably what for a lot of people is the first layer, and that is sexuality. I didn't really talk too much about the sexual aspect of sensuality in this because I think it's a given. When you are able to explore yourself, ignite your senses, understand how you can receive pleasure by stimulating yourself through sound, through taste, through touch, through smell, you know, through using your six senses, it's a given that your sexual endeavors will only be amplified. And being able to share those moments with someone else, what you've discovered about yourself, and being curious enough to try and discover it in someone else is, I guess, top tier sexual connoisseur shit, essentially. The reason why I didn't focus on it too much is because, like I said, it is a given. What you need to understand though is that for all areas of your life to flourish, you need to employ those senses. And being pleasured is not necessarily just for sex. Being able to ignite your senses allows you to manifest because you know what gives you pleasure. Being able to ignite your senses lets you know that you exist because you feel. Being able to ignite your senses also sparks that creative energy within you. Being able to ignite all of your senses and utilize them and enjoy the fact that they are aroused or displeased lets you know that you are living a human experience. So if you have neglected that sensual side of yourself, know that you are actually keeping yourself super, super small. If you want to unlock your life fully, your spiritual capacity, your ability to manifest, your ability just to interact and relate to yourself and others, you need to unlock your sensuality.